understand.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Elizabeth Omori. The federal government has filed a 20-count charge against the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. The fresh count charge has been filed before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Maitama, Abuja. In one of the counts, Godwin Emefiele is being alleged of conferring unlawful advantage of himself during his tenure as governor of the CBN. With the fresh counts, Emefiele is expected to be arraigned soon in Abuja. Meanwhile, the federal government has applied to withdraw the firearms charge against the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, pending before the Federal High Court in Lagos. In an oral application, the Director of Public Prosecution at the Federal Ministry of Justice, Mohammed Abubakar, made the application before the presiding judge, Justice Nicholas Owiebo. Mohammed Abubakar told the court that the application followed the result of further investigations on the matter. Justice Owiebo has adjourned till Thursday, August 17, 2023 to rule on the application. Despite dispute resolution is the primary duty of any competent court, and competent judicial officers are employed to adjudicate in various courts. Olabode Arewa reports that to cope with the ever-increasing challenges in the justice sector, new magistrates were recently recruited, with the Chief Justice of Nigeria and Judicial College of England and Wales working together towards enhancing their capacity. The collaboration courtesy the National Judicial Council, NJI.
The justice sector is no doubt saddled with enormous challenges as more people than ever approach courts for settlement of disputes. This therefore increases the workload on the judicial officers, necessitating recruitment of new judicial officers by the National Judicial Council. The latest is this set of magistrates undergoing tutelage in Abuja on the appropriate code of conduct and comportment to enable them stand out in their duties. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, who offered advice to the new magistrates, says continuous self-development is key to a successful career on the bench.
A judicial officer should be true and faithful to the Constitution and the law, uphold the cause of justice by abiding with provisions of Constitution and the law, and should of course acquire and maintain professional competence.
The Judicial College of England and Wales could not agree more, as they are at the conference to share experiences with the new inductees.
Judicial training worldwide focuses more and more on ethics, judgecraft, leadership and management.
Upon conclusion of their induction, the magistrates are expected to be deployed to fill vacancies at judicial divisions across the country. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Away from judicial matters, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says it does not have intentions to increase fuel pump price as widely speculated. The corporation stated in a press release with promises of best quality products at affordable prices at all NNPC retail stations nationwide. And headline inflation rate for July 2023 increased to 24.08% from 22.79% recorded in June 2023, representing an increase of 1.29 percentage points from the June 2023 headline inflation. Latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics show that on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 4.44 percentage points higher compared to the rate recorded in July 2022, which was 19.64%. The data also showed that increase in the headline index for July 2023 was attributed to an increase in contributions of some items in the basket of foods and services witnessed in food and non-alcoholic beverages, housing, water, electricity, gas and fuel, clothing and footwear, transportation, furniture and household equipment, as well as maintenance, education and health. Food component sub-index for July 2023 increased by 26.98% on a year-on-year basis, caused by increase in prices of oil and fat, bread and cereal, fish, potatoes, yam and other tubers, fruits, meat, vegetable, milk, cheese and eggs. Now let's talk security. A strategic discussion about security in Niger State is the focus of a meeting between the Chief of the Air Staff and Governor of Niger State, Mohammed Omar Bago, at the headquarters of NAF following an air crash in Shiroro local government area. Details of this report will come subsequently. Now, the Republic of Korea is soliciting Nigeria's support to host the World Expo 2023 in Boston, Korea. Delegation of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea made the plea when they paid a courtesy visit on the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. Kenneth Nanim was at the meeting.
Nigeria and the Republic of Korea have continued to enjoy cordial bilateral relations. Now, a delegation from the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, led by the Korean ambassador to Nigeria, Kim Yong-cho, is here to fashion out ways of deepening socio-economic ties between both countries. A member of the delegation, Lee Hun-sung, who spoke through an interpreter, solicited Nigeria's support and participation at the World Expo 2023 in Busan, Korea. He expressed the hope that President Tinubu and the Korean president will have a fruitful chat on the sidelines of the upcoming G20 summit in New Delhi, India. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, urged them to take advantage of the investment-friendly policies of the federal government and the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to advance mutual socio-economic benefits.
Korea and Nigeria have everything by way of resources, human and material resources, and technology on your part to work in a complementary manner. It is an opportunity to expand, to explore and to expand bilateral relations.
Both countries are also looking forward to leveraging opportunities of the Korea-African Summit, slated sometime next year for a more strengthened bilateral relations. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Well, in another development, residents and motorists plying the Kano to Bauchi Federal Road, which collapsed recently, have been assured of timely completion of temporary work which is ongoing. This is to avoid further damage and allow for free movement of vehicles. Senator representing Jigawa Southwest Senatorial District, Mustafa Habib, gave the assurance while inspecting the failed portion of the road. Awal Mohammed Kazari reports.
The Birnin Kudu Road is strategic and important federal highway linking the northwestern geopolitical zone to all the states in the northeast geopolitical zone. It also serves as an international route to Cameroon and Chad. On a yearly basis, portions of the road do cave in as a result of flooding and also collapse of bridges. It is against this backdrop that Senator representing Jigawa Southwest Senatorial District, Senator Mustafa Kabib, embarked on this inspection visit.
This is a very important strategic road. This road or this bridge connects Kano, Jigawa, Bauchi, Gombe, Adamawa, Taraba to Cameroon and Central African Republic, and Maiduguri Yobe.
Chairman Senate Committee on Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, Senator Babangida Usaini, said adequate provision should be made in the annual budget and other sources of funding to ensure that the road and a new bridge will be constructed for long-term usage.
I got a distress call from my colleague, the senator representing the Jigawa Central Senatorial District, Senator Mustafa Kabib, regarding the condition of the road. And I got this call yesterday in the evening. We cancelled all our activities for the day just to come and see what is going on and probably even look at the possibility of intervening.
Temporary work is currently ongoing on the failed portions of the federal highway.
Lives and property in Igwowo, Amachai quarters in Okpanam community in Delta State are at the risk of being wiped off by gully erosion if urgent steps are not taken. Susan Isu, who visited the area, reports that the indigents are sending a Save Our Soul message to relevant authorities for urgent intervention.
Igwowo, Amacha quarters in Okpanam community is badly affected by gully erosion for years now. Aside the erosion menace, the community is also challenged by poor road network. Lady Lizzie Mmadu is at the risk of losing her home if nothing is done, and urgently so.
It wasn't like this way they built this my house for me. So as days go on now, it's expanding. Even last time I went to the town, I can't even move to my house. I was stuck there till 4 hours before the rain subsided, before I moved to my house.
This thing, as I'm talking to you now, if you go there now, you notice that property that worth billions of naira with human life are about to be lost in that environment.
Some residents who live near the affected area are already feeling threatened, especially as the rains intensify. The people are pleading for urgent government intervention to save them from this imminent natural disaster. In Okpanam, Delta State, Susan Isu, NTA News.
We now link up live with Susan Isu in Asaba for more on the gully erosion matter. Susan, thank you so much for joining us on the news. Susan, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Hello, Lizzie. Good afternoon.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, could you tell us, we understand that the erosion...
Hello, Lizzie. Good afternoon.
Good evening. I can hear you. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Okay, I'm here. I'm here with you.
Thank you so much. All right, we understand that the erosion has been there for more than 10 years. Could you give us more details on this and how it has been affecting residents in that state?
Okay, the erosion site is actually a disaster waiting to happen. If you can see from the camera, you know that it is actually a very serious and a very terrible situation for the people living around here. This place is a community, a residential area in a community within the state capital. And the people here are standing a very serious risk of losing their lives and, of course, their property, because the degradation keeps inching very close to where they stay. And then we were here for some on-the-spot assessment, and the people are lamenting that they have done their bit. They have tried their effort as a community, but it is not getting any better because the situation gets worse by the day. Unfortunately, today we have with us the state coordinator of New Map, who would be in a better situation to tell us what has actually happened here, because the people say it wasn't like this some years ago. So I would like Mr. Benedict Nwokocha to tell us what happened and what remedy or measures they have to ensure that these people are safe. So, sir, what can you say about this place, and what do you intend to do to remedy the situation?
Thank you very much. It's a really terrible situation we have here. This is what we call a catastrophic gully. And as the day goes by, it's inching closer to people's residence. And we are hoping that we'll be able to intervene soon to ameliorate the situation. If you look behind, I think the gully is about 200 feet deep. Before now, it wasn't that deep. But as the rain comes yearly, with greater intensity, the depth of the gully is further increasing. The people living around here, some of them are moved away from their source and means of livelihood to another location. And I'm hoping that the moment we can carry out what we call engineering design of this place and know the implication of intervention, then of course government will spring into action.
All right, thank you, Mr. Benedict. And so that is just it about it here. We still have some of the residents standing pleading. They have been pleading since we came around this place. They have been begging, they have been pleading that we should speak on their behalf for government to step in and salvage the situation for them.
All right, Susan, thank you so much for the update, and we hope the relevant authorities will swing into action. Thank you so much. Moving on, has taken over the administration of the State House, promising dedication to ensure the success of the current government. The new permanent secretary, Olusegun Adebi, takes over from Tijani Umar, who proceeds a retirement after clocking 60. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports.
It's a day like no other for Tijani Umar. An ace athlete on the basketball courts can now bask in the sense of fulfillment. He found his way into civil service administration and has now completed the race.
Permanent secretaries that we so much love.
13 years in the State House, 10 on directorate levels, and 3 as a permanent secretary since April 2020, Tijani Umar is taking a bow out of civil service after clocking the mandatory age limit.
I have given it my absolute best between April 2020 and August 10th, 2023. Driving around the State House today gives me great pleasure because I can see how, in our small way, we have impacted the community. When you check left, right, and center, there is something, somewhere, that people will still continue to use and benefit from that we initiated, completed, and delivered. So we give God all the glory.
Tijani completed his race, but that of a civil service is a marathon. And so Olusegun Adebiyi takes the baton.
These are the handing over notes. Thank you.
To Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, who has given me this privilege to serve in the State House, I want to just most sincerely pledge my commitment to my fatherland. And I want to also pledge my sincerity and register the fact that I will put in my best, humanly possible, for the success of the administration.
Earlier, there was a birthday bash organized by the State House, an apparent signal to the finishing line.
We'll miss you, but we know you're going to excel whatever you do in future. God bless you.
For the State House Medical Center, which you knew had always been in the media for the wrong reasons, he brought us back. He upgraded us.
During his tenure, the State House, I could say, witnessed a period of tremendous progress. Training, welfare in general, he took it very seriously and passionately. I'm sure that we're going to miss him, definitely. But I know that the man that is always coming, Engineer Adebiyi, has a very good reputation.
The friend of the media also earns the State House press corps to say goodbye. It was a mutual respect. And it's now time for the chief housekeeper to say goodbye to the housing people he has kept for years, maybe to return as a special guest someday. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
And from the NTA, we wish him all the best. This is Nationwide on NTA. Time to head to Lagos, where Adiola is standing by with some reports. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Elizabeth. With the flood prediction ruled out by the Ministry of Environment for the month of August, Lagos State, being one of the states mentioned, has assured its residents through the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, that it will not fold its arms at such early warning system and had gone to put mitigating and recovery mechanism in place to guard against loss of life and property. LASEMA boss Oluwafemi Oke-Osuntolu gave the assurance while responding to the early warning announcement. Larry Gbeleyin has details.
Flood Early Warning System has released flood prediction for the month of August, with a list containing states such as Delta, Ekiti, Ondo, Anambra, Ogun, Nasarawa, Cross River, Bauchi, and Jigawa. Others are Osun, Kwara, Zamfara, Sokoto, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Imo, and Abia states. Lagos State is also included, with areas such as Apapa, Badagry, Etiosa, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Ikoyi, Lagos Island, Ojo, and Surulere pinpointed as vulnerable areas in the state. What are the early warning system put in place by the State Emergency Management Agency?
We have to go out on time to make sure we carry out sensitization, to make sure we see where and where we feel it will be more vulnerable there. So that's why we went there, we liaised with them, we started going out from area to the other, we started seeing the problems.
Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, towing the path of emergency management that has a bottom-up approach to disaster response, says it has positioned itself to mitigate this flood prediction in the areas mentioned.
We've improved our basic infrastructure, we've improved our channelization, we clear in the gutters, and we carry out advocacy that people should not dump into our canals.
Apart from the provision of additional internally displaced persons camp, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency pleaded with the people living in the coastal areas experiencing coastal flooding to be careful and not to allow development that could aggravate the already fragile situation in the area, as the state government is looking into all areas to mitigate coastal floods in the state. In Lagos, Larry Gbeleyin, NTA News.
The house-to-house vaccination approach being adopted by the Lagos State government in combating anthrax is all-encompassing and creating the effective platform for managing animal disease both in the rural and urban city. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is optimistic this measure, if properly adopted across the country, will stand the test of time in the quest to rid the country of anthrax. Michael Olaleye reports.
Getting rid of animal-to-human transmission of anthrax is key in the control and prevention strategy of the federal government, and in efficiently implementing this plan, cross-monitoring of animals with the view of looking out for symptoms is the major focus. Not solely depending on this approach, vaccination is equally being prioritized at various livestock markets in Lagos, and the goal rigorously pursued by stakeholders is to ensure that safe and healthy meats are available.
Usually for vaccination of animals, we do them outside the town. But Lagos State has developed a house-to-house vaccination campaign where, because this is an urban area, some people do urban farming. So Lagos State is taking the vaccination campaign to urban farmers.
While the anthrax symptoms to look out for in animals have become a slogan among traders, there is a sense of alertness in the next step to take in case of unseen circumstances.
As a certain nation, we're talking about, let's say, cleanliness first. Then another way, untimely death of any cow or ram, we don't need to start rushing. Maybe we can make use of it or eat it. We need to call the local government, or veterinary, whatever, to come and pick it up.
Although Lagos State is leveraging on the 60,000 anthrax vaccines provided by the federal government and complementing this action with human and animal surveillance, the big worry for the traders lies in the perceived reduction in the consumption of beef and other livestock produce. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Do not forget that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. We'll take some messages now, after which we will join Felicia in Just Network Center for stories from that zone. To stay.
Have you joined us in Jos? We begin with issues of governance as members of Plateau State Executive Council and other political appointees have been tasked to cultivate team spirit in order to achieve the state's developmental goals. This is the focus as they converged for a retreat at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru. Ndenyan and Deabagyang reports.
The retreat is the first onboarding of the executive arm organized by the Plateau State government. Participants include commissioners, permanent secretaries, and other political appointees of the Mutfan-led administration. The objective of the retreat is to equip officials with the knowledge and skills to formulate policies that align with the developmental framework of government, identify challenges, and profile solutions. Governor Mutfan stressed that the executive must imbibe leadership qualities and develop strategies for transparency and accountability in order to gain public trust as he unveils the mission of the time is now to the members.
This retreat is called the onboarding of the appointees. We have ordered a flight that we are hopeful will take Plateau State to a sizable of glory.
Director General NIPS, Professor Ayo Omotayo, represented by Brigadier General Chukwuemeka Udara, retired, says the Institute is happy to provide government with facilities and experiences that can improve on quality service delivery.
It's a big opportunity for members of the executive of the Plateau State government to think through the policies and programs that His Excellency will be executing in the coming years.
Speaking on the theme, what will you be remembered for, chaplain of the Institute, David Pofi, challenged the appointees to be diligent in the discharge of their duties and to know they are accountable to God. Jos, Ndenyan, and Deabagyang, NTA News.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says it is intensifying efforts to reposition the operational mechanism to give it its pride of place within the country's security architecture. The Corps Commander General Ahmed Abubakar Audi stated this at the Command and Staff College Jos during the maiden graduation of Staff Course 01-2023. Alisa Botukaye Andrew has details.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Command and Staff College commenced training on the 19th of May 2023. Immediately after the college was inaugurated by the immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari. While inaugurating the Staff Course 01-2023 project, the Commandant General of the Corps, Ahmed Abubakar Audi, says the college is equipping officers with requisite knowledge and skills required to perform their duties effectively against the backdrop of emerging security threats.
Having gone through all the crucibles of what they have been taught here, you realize that when they go out there to the field, they will put their best, in protecting critical national asset infrastructure of Nigeria.
Governor Caleb Mufwang, represented, says government is doing everything possible to ensure the peace and security of lives on the plateau, calling on participants to ensure that the mandate of the course is achieved.
I urge you to carry your assignments in order to improve your operations.
I know that all participants are of high intellectual caliber and that they will not only profit from being accorded the utmost in academic freedom.
The experience has been impactful in the area of teamwork.
We've learned how to be ambassadors of the Corps. Goodwill messages came from the military, paramilitary, and traditional leaders. 8 participants were selected from the 280 for an international course, while prizes were given to overall best in academics. In Jos, Alisa Botukaye Andrew, NTA News.
Those are the stories from here. Elizabeth is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Felicia. A strategic discussion about security in Niger State is the focus of a meeting between the Chief of Air Staff and Governor of Niger State, Mohammed Omar Bago, at the headquarters of NAF following an air crash in Shiroro local government. Defense correspondent Najat Tijani reports.
efforts of the Nigerian Air Force in combating terrorism and promoting peace and stability in Niger State and its environs is among issues discussed at the strategic meeting following what many describe as a tragedy, where no fewer than 13 soldiers were killed in a fight against terrorism and banditry, as well as the loss of an air platform.
I come today to you with 3 issues. One, to commiserate and condole with you over the death of your men and soldiers at Niger State, which eventually brought about the evacuation by your own chopper that was that crashed. The Air Force has done so much very well for us as a people. You have supported Niger State in the fight against insurgency and banditry. I want to say, don't be tired.
I want to assure you that the Nigerian Air Force, and indeed the Armed Forces of Nigeria, will remain committed, dedicated, undaunted in our efforts at eradicating these security challenges perpetrated by these non-state actors.
Beyond pledging support to the Nigerian Air Force and condoling with the Air Chief on the loss of lives of personnel and an air platform, the visit of the Niger State Governor to the headquarters Nigerian Air Force is also aimed at clearing speculations concerning insecurity in the state, as well as underscoring the need to honor fallen heroes while promoting peace and unity in the state through the fight against terrorism. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Away from security, everything is useful in Panteka Market as waste products are transformed into useful materials, turning waste to wealth by individuals who had not passed through any formal education. The market is now a hub for technological revolution where universities and polytechnics send their students to tap from experience of artisans who have not obtained certificates from any institution. It is a place people visit to buy industrial machines produced in Nigeria. Now let's take a look at this market.
This is Panteka Market, established 50 years ago in the heart of Kaduna metropolis as a hub of technical and vocational center.
There are chances that will come. Maybe when we are working here, they will ask you that, do you have any qualification? So maybe they will employ you.
Though informal sector, it produces artisans who have been into fabrications. As a center of excellence in fabrications, the National Board for Technical Education is leveraging on the available options of Panteka Market to formalize training through NSQ program, a program designed to incorporate trainees into formal sector by awarding the certificate.
As for all the years it has been in existence, there hasn't been any formal relationship between that technology hub and the technical institution that is next to it. The center is called Center for Technology Development.
The program, in collaboration with Kaduna Polytechnic, will facilitate transfer of technology to other African countries.
Even the investment made in agriculture by CBN, we could have done it better by investing into machineries and technologies for running, those rice mills and so on. Training is being done on the job. It's not, they are not going anywhere out, outside the Panteka except one day in a week. They enter Kaduna Polytechnic and they take some theories of the practices they are doing.
In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And Umar is standing by at the Panteka Market in Kaduna to give us a full view of this environment that has become a learning field for the education sector. Umar, thank you so much for joining us on the news. Omar, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Hello?
Omar, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Good afternoon.
Good evening. Now, could you tell us more about this technological hub that could lead to industrialization for us?
Well, Panteka Market is one of the largest fabrication hubs in northern Nigeria, if not in the entire country.
with over 30,000 artisans engaging in different kinds of skills ranging from carpentry, welding, as well as producing high-tech equipment that, as we talk at the moment, are being put into use in so many industries across this country. It is a market where neighboring African countries like Burkina Faso and Niger also visit to buy some of this equipment. I have with me the secretary of the association of this market, Ibrahim Abubakar. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What are some of the innovation that comes out from Panteka market?
Okay, it happens that we are having a lot of innovation in this Panteka market, more especially like the Panteka upgrade. Because during the tenure of Professor Idris Bugaji in Kaduna Polytechnic, we have a series of upgrade. Like we train quality assurance assessors in Panteka. We have the National Skill Qualification Framework, that is the Master's Craftsmen. So that these are people that they have already known the job. But the most important thing is the certification method. We want a situation whereby by the time they are having this certification method, then they can be able to compete in the modern world. These are people that we have them a lot here. We have existing 38 zones in Panteka, and we impart different skills in this particular market. So what we are trying to do, based on this upgrade, is to see that most of our people, they have this certification, so that they can be able to leave Panteka and move to the other places, while the young ones that they are coming up, like the artisans, then they can be able to learn more from this particular place.
Thank you very much, sir, for appearing this moment. Panteka market is an emblematic example of the contributions of the informal sector to the technological drive and economic growth of this country. Back to studio.
Maximizing the benefits of that market. Thank you very much. Talking health and policy now, organs are vital to the existence of humans. This underscores a strong advocacy that those in authority should consider the establishment of organ plants that will be monitored and supervised closely to prevent abuse, just like the blood donation center. The question now is, can you donate any of your organs to an ailing person? Aisha Obali in this report takes a look at what Organ Donor Day signifies.
Hair donation. I know the first thing that comes to your mind is either cash or material donation, but it goes beyond that. People donate organs. About 850 million people globally are suffering from one form of kidney disease or the other. Pressing the keys on his phone, frail looking, but 36-year-old Abisoye Ismaila is pushing to survive. A phone repairer, Abisoye discovered in 2021 that his 2 kidneys had failed and has spent approximately 6 million naira in search of a matching donor.
There was protein in my urine, so I went to UBTH then. So after many tests, the doctor told me that my 2 kidneys had failed.
After screening the 6th volunteer, he finally gets a donor, but the challenge now is funds for the transplant.
I have a match already. But the issue that I'm having right now, because of the amount I've spent so far, the money for transplant, I don't have the complete money, I only have part of it. Which, if the government will wish to come into such situation, I can be a beneficiary.
Organ donation, medical experts say, is an issue traditional and religious institutions must rise up to demystify.
It involves documenting every step of the process where the person will have signed a consent to show that he or she is willing to donate without any prior financial inducement.
Although Dr. Waliyullah says the chances of survival after organ transplant is relative, he advises the transplant or dialysis are more sustaining than drugs.
Currently, we have been observed to have westernized our diet, and because of the increased prevalence of diabetes and other non-communicable disease, there is also attendant risk of damage to the kidney from all these diseases. So these are part of the reasons why kidney disease is on the rise.
With the advocacy by the Nigerian Transplanting Association for legislation on organ transplant, the theme for this year is Step Up to Volunteer, Need More Organ Donors to Fill the Lacuna. In Abuja, Aisha Ubali, NTA News.
Thank you, Aisha, for that information. Now, the Executive Director, News Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Ayo Adewi, has been awarded Professional Excellence Award in Journalism by the Rotary Club of Abuja Central District. Sarafina Okon Umekwe reports that this was at the installation and investiture of the 7th President of the Rotary Club.
These men and women are determined to disrupt the narrative towards building a better Nigeria through selfless service in their immediate communities.
It wasn't easy. You know, we got to a point, we finished the toilet, we commissioned it. President Aisha will continue with classroom block and head teacher's office.
We have to give awards to those who have served in various capacities to touch lives.
The installation of the 3rd female and the 7th president of the Rotary Club of Abuja Central Business District, members encouraged well-meaning Nigerians to be part of their mission of providing support and uplifting the downtrodden in the society. The president, Aisha Ali, gave a well-defined agenda on finishing the school project at Gaydam Gimba in Nasarawa State, and eradication of polio will be top on her agenda.
In our homes, drug abuse is very, very real. We tend to take it, and then we now look at the girl child.
It should not be left alone for one group. They are just leading us, and we follow them to support them in what they are doing.
She should execute impactful projects.
The big moments came for recipients of awards of excellence, which was at different categories. The acting Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps received an award of excellence for outstanding leadership, while the Executive Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority bagged Excellence in Journalism Service Awards, amongst others.
The category of those we awarded: 1, they must have been serving selflessly.
Central Business District units came into existence in 2016 with the mandate of rendering selfless services to humanity. Little wonder its 2023 theme is Create Hope in the World. Serafina Okun Umekwe, NTA.
And for more reports on Nationwide, let's head to Benin, where Ogochukwuka is standing by with some reports. Nice to see you, Ogochukwuka.
Chairman of the State Electoral Commission, EDSEC, Justice James Oyomire, retired, says he's taking his integrity to conduct a free, fair and credible election in the state. This is during an interface with key players in the 18 local government areas in preparation for the council polls. Eugene Anduwisi has details.
Since the expiration of the tenure of the immediate past chairman in the 18 local government areas, the affairs of the councils have been supervised by heads of local government administration. However, as the state also prepares to go for its governorship election in 2024, it has become imperative to conduct LGA elections as a build-up to the polls. Though the conduct of the LGA election in the state has suffered several setbacks and postponement, this time around, the Justice James Oyemire's led EDSEC says there is no going back on the December 2nd rescheduled date. This is why the Commission is visiting the 18 local government areas in the state to give added reassurance that the date is sacrosanct.
I want to appeal to all of us to eschew electoral malpractices, electoral violence, snatching of ballot boxes, creating mayhem at the polling station during election.
Stakeholders described the sensitization tour as timely while pledging their support to ensure a smooth conduct of the process, as they promise to look at every concern raised by the Commission.
We will try our best to talk with the politicians and especially the youths.
All the critical stakeholders, including various interest groups, were represented. In Benin, Eugenia Ndubisi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Customs Service has expressed commitment to bring succor to orphans and the vulnerable persons across the country in line with the corporate social responsibility. The Acting Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, expressed the commitment while inspecting the facility at an orphanage in Akure, Ondo State. Abiola Ario reports that the facility visit is to ensure that any assistance rendered is not diverted or sold in the markets.
The visit of the Acting Comptroller General of Customs, Wale Adeniyi, to Akure is part of the Nigerian Customs Corporate Social Responsibility to support the growth of orphanage homes in the country. Customs Acting Comptroller General, during the inspection of facilities at the home, promised to periodically extend hands of fellowship to the home and others for the children to have extensive care.
We have a responsibility. This is why we find it necessary for us to seek out organizations like this that are responsible for taking care of the community that we serve and forge partnership with such organizations.
The Acting Comptroller General also explained that part of the reviewed strategy is to ensure that such homes have proper structure to drive what they are doing in order to avert possible diversion of the relief items meant for the poor children and the vulnerable people. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
Sadia in Sokoto will be coming up next with reports from that zone. This would be after a commercial break. Please stay.
Join us in Sokoto. The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja, says when troops work in a conducive environment, they will be motivated to put in their best while on the field. The latter Abdullahi reports that Lieutenant General Lagbaja was speaking while inaugurating the new 8th Division Headquarters Nigerian Army Office Complex in Sokoto. The report.
The 8th Division headquarters of the Nigerian Army was moved to Sokoto from Monguno in Borno State, northeast Nigeria in 2015. The officers and the men of the division have been in a temporary location until now. The construction of the modern office complex by the Nigerian Army Special Project Engineers commenced in February 2022 and completed equipped in July 2023. The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, described the facility as a world-class and challenged officers and men to ensure effective maintenance of the edifice, as well as improve on their service to the country. The Chief of the Army Staff said the provision of infrastructure is a step toward the accomplishment of his mission in transforming the Nigerian Army. He added that efforts are on to ensure improved welfare of the soldiers to further boost their morale in tackling security challenges in the country.
These officers, these soldiers are motivated to go out there and give their best in combating the insecurity that confronts the people of Sokoto and beyond.
The General Officer commanding the 8th Division of the Nigerian Army Headquarters, Sokoto, Major General Godwin Michael Mutkot, said they will work hard to justify the occupation of the new office complex. Similarly, the immediate past Chief of the Army Staff, retired Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has formally commissioned the 28th Support Engineers Army Barracks at Sifawa in Sokoto State. It is a complement of the 8th Division of the Nigerian Army to further extend its reach, considering the current security challenges in the Northwest. The serving Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja, who also described the project as a landmark for the military formations in the Northwest zone, said it is designed to accommodate the 28th Support Engineers Regiment troops. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's it from this end. It's now back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you so much. And next is Sports Update with Gift George.
Nigeria's D Tigers are hoping to bounce back against Mali in their second group match at the ongoing FIBA Africa Pre-Olympic qualifiers taking place in Lagos, Nigeria. The Nigerian men's basketball team lost their first match to Senegal 93-87 Monday evening, but the team is optimistic of a positive result against Mali Tuesday evening.
Our approach to the game is going to be entirely different now. We need to go back and watch the video and do the corrections.
Two really good teams competing against each other.
So everyone had an opportunity. The game could have went either way. Senegal came on top. Congratulations to them. But the tournament is not over.
In football, the new season of the Nigerian Professional Football League, earlier scheduled to kick off on the 26th of August 2023, has now been postponed to the weekend of September the 8th to the 10th. The league organizers say the new date was occasioned by the need to test run the new live streaming initiatives, while also affording clubs competing on the continent the opportunity to start the season with the other 16 clubs. In Scrabble, about 80 players across states in the Southwest Zone featured at the one-day Southwest Closed Scrabble tournament, which ended in Abuja, Ogun State. At the end, former national captain Silo Omebie reconfirmed his quality in the game as he maintained a 100% record of 6 wins in the first period of the 12-round tournament.
The terrain is very tough in Nigeria. Even if you call it a retreat of 10 people, it's always difficult to win any tournament in Nigeria.
This tournament is going to rub off positively on the players who participated in this tournament. And the reason is that as players, the more tournaments you participate in, the more it improves your skill.
In a bid to grow and continue the development of squash from the grassroots, Ranko Sports Academy organized the 19th edition of the Squash Tival Boot Camp for children between the ages of 5 and 18. The 3-week developmental squash clinic gave over 100 children the opportunity to learn the basic techniques of the game.
We're actually exposing kids to know that squash is a pathway that they can even get international scholarship. And some of these kids said they want to play for Nigeria now professionally.
With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.
And that's Nationwide today. Thank you for watching. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good evening.